So, hello everybody. This is What the Fauna. My name is Whitney, and this is
Hi, I'm Jen. Back for
and
round 2.
round two. Last episode of this podcast, we're just picking random animals to just discuss and talk about. Usually, thumbs that are weird. Periodically, we'll pick just topics about animals and biology to go off on. And last time we were talking about the volcano snail. So go ahead, take a look at that episode if you're interested about those little guys. Today, I picked the subject, and this one is one that I have always enjoyed. Even back in the days when I was in the zoo field doing zoo education, I found out about this guy, and he was one of my favorite things to talk about, and we'll get into why he was one of my favorites. But for those that don't know, that Jen and we met in college, and we were in the biology area together. We love the weird biology stuff, and Jen wanted to put this thing together to kind of just guide towards adult conversations with animals. In other words, there will be swearing, etc. Blah 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 blah. So probably don't want
Not
to.
BPC.
Yes, no, and I'm drinking whiskey, so let's go get spicy.
Gotta get spicy. But this is for all you adult animal freaks out there. I mean, a certain genre of you. All genres are welcome. We're all inclusive.
Yes.
This is for the adults who still want to learn about awesome animals, but some of the kids shows you like go see the movies and people look at you weird and stuff, and you're like,
Yes.
Don't worry, we're gonna get into all the nitty gritty of the animals, so it's way more fun here too.
Yes.
I don't
it is
have to
way
be
more fun.
nice. Oh yes, the little turtle will make it. No, he won't. No.
Yes.
So Whitney's chosen the animal today, and I have to say I had not really. I feel like I had a pharyngeal knowledge of this, but not really until I started looking it up and was doing. I love it when you see an animal and you go, "Oh my god, what a shit show! That's awesomely amazing." But Mother Nature, you drunk. You
Yeah,
so
this one
drunk.
is one of my favorites. Well, we'll get into why. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the hairy frog, which gets its name because the boys of this type of frog kind of grow hairs during the mating season. They're not exactly hairs. They look like hairs. It's just lots of tiny little tendrils of their own skin.
It really just looks like his armpit to his groin just exploded in little fleshy tendrils. So you
Yes.
manga people, looking at you.
And actually, when we were talking into this episode, we were getting in there. Well, there was one fact that you thought was interesting about using their eyeballs to push their food down their throat.
Right. So I did not know this, and then Whitney informed me that a lot of frogs do this. So if they eat
Yes.
something that's like kind of big, like imagine you're eating a watermelon. They kind of shove it as far into their mouth as they can, and then they close their mouth, and then they use the pressure from their eyeballs to push it down their throat.
Yes. So
well,
actually, it's not. It's actually even worse than that. This is something all anurans do, which is all the frogs, toads, and salamanders even do this. So if you ever watch them eat, watch every video you see of a frog like grabbing that little insect. What's going to happen next is their eyes sink into their head. It's not so much that they're pushing it down. They're using their eyeballs and the pressure of their eyeballs as teeth. So we chew with our teeth. They literally crush the invertebrates that they eat with their eyeballs. And then that turns them to squishy mush. And then also,
would that be considered like in the mouth, like hard palate or soft palate?
I mean, technically, it's the soft palate. Yeah, I would always do this, and they would just.
For all I know, they're like puking it up and squishing it. I don't know.
Exactly. So, but yeah, that's why whenever you see those videos of like the frogs, like with their eyes like going into their head, that's what's happening. They're pushing their soft palate down to crush with the force of their eyeballs to basically crush their food. So that's actually something that all frogs do. So that little piece of tidbit isn't what makes the hairy frog so unique. But we'll get into that.
Okay, so first, where are they from? Like if you're walking, around in Colorado,
be in some wet areas. These guys like it. They like it moist. Everyone's favorite word,
Moist.
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 They like it real moist, and they're usually on the western central part of Africa, swamps, rainforests, near waterways, stuff like that. And
Think Cameroon, the Congo,
yeah, those
Angola.
kind of areas. And they what is it? Their Trichobactrachus robustus is their scientific name.
I want my
Um,
scientific name to
yes, I'm
include
gonna leave.
robustus.
Yeah, so they're called the hairy frog,
Do you have a problem with my friend Biggest Robustus?
robustus. They're they biggest robustus.
Robustus,
They are
biggest.
pretty big, and they're also called the horror frog. And there's actually one more name that's more modern
It's
that
more modern, yeah, which I was surprised about.
which is why they're my favorite. But
They keep getting
we'll get into
nicknames
that.
like
We'll
they're
get
so
that last.
cool.
That's gonna be the last little
Yeah,
tidbit that
you
we
get
share.
how about this one? Guys, listen to this and try and guess.
Yeah, go ahead. For those that
You're
don't
gonna
know,
be
go ahead and try to
closer
guess
than
what's
you
going to
think.
be the weird thing about these guys. So, um, the one of the not completely unique, but an unusual trait with these guys, usually in the frog worlds, like the frogs and toads, the female is much bigger than the male.
Yeah, this way
In
it's
this,
reversed.
it's reversed on these guys. These guys, the males are the bigger ones, which is also why they're the hairy ones. And not because they have a hair fetish. I'm pretty sure you have a hairy male
Can I
fetish.
say another fun word that makes people uncomfortable?
What?
Pap papillae. They have
Papillae. Yes.
so the hair isn't really hair, it's not
Yes.
it's extenuating filaments of
There's
flesh.
flesh, and basically, well, what it is
But there's a lot of them too, it looks like hair. It looks
yes,
like someone took, like, a really bad beard and, like, glued it to their rib cage and their crotch.
yeah,
And it's
or a
like,
couple of your exes just without their shirts.
"Ah, you know,
I haven't seen your husband.
they were
So I don't know
warm to
how hairy he
snuggle
is.
with." I'm not gonna say that. So yeah, I mean, but, like, I just want them to be prehensile. So, people
But
kinda new to the animal world, everybody is welcome here, so if you're
yeah,
new
they don't.
prehensile means you can move it with intelligence, kind of?
Well, you can move it purposefully and like grab
Purposefully,
things.
thank you.
It also means you can grab something. So, like,
Mhm.
like a monkey tail would be prehensile, or a dolphin penis would be prehensile. Oh,
Okay, so imagine the monkey tail, then let's go to the dolphin penis. Of
dolphin
course,
just grabbing your
there's nothing in between, just
dolphins have been
boom,
known
boom.
to grab
So,
scuba divers with their.
unfortunately, the hairy frog, I did not see any research that suggested their papillae were prehensile, but
No,
that would be
all it
great,
is
like
just extra flesh. Because what happens is during the mating process, usually the female's the one guarding the eggs, which is why she's the bigger one. In this case, the males are the ones actually taking care of the young. So it's a much more, uh,
hey, don't you rip
femme
on the house
dominant
husbands,
society.
they are sexy as hell.
Yeah,
I love me a good dad bod.
right. So they don't use it sexually. They actually are growing those out. Well, there might be. I haven't heard anything about whether or not like females prefer like the hairier men and there's the
I
hairier
would
frogs
think I
in the
mean,
species,
so
but
what they're doing is the frogs are staying in the water, and it's
kind of
probably
not.
a
No,
dual
actually,
thing.
they're not in the water.
Well, but when they're protecting the eggs, they are, I thought.
No, they're in the mud,
Oh, in the mud. Oh, okay.
which is why they need all that extra hair. Because in the mud, water actually can get a lot of oxygen in it, like
Mhm.
splashing and everything. There's actually, and that's why you can have fish and stuff like that. But with these guys, they need more surface area because amphibians like these, like frogs and them, breathe through their skin. But if there's not a lot of oxygen in that area, then they need to increase the surface area because the more surface area, the more contact you're getting in with oxygen
Mhm.
molecules. Mud is not known for
Well,
having
and
a lot of
I
oxygen.
read comparatively to most frogs, they have fairly small lungs.
Yes, they do. They do.
So this is
Because
helping the
this
surface area bring in oxygen.
well, remember, lungs aren't for breathing under
Oh, duh,
under the
excuse me.
surface. Yes, there you go.
Well, just
So
put your head out the mud.
yeah, they have smaller lungs because most of their life is underwater or under the mud. But since the males are protecting them and they're in the mud, in the muck,
The
and then
eggs.
waiting for more water for the rain season, then they need to survive with that low oxygen content. So they need to absorb as much oxygen as they can to keep going. And that's why they have that. Basically, it's external gill-like thing is what it really comes down to. It just the gills of fish, like if actually, or the axolotl. That's a fun one. Take a look at
Axolotl.
the salamanders or baby salamanders. They have those external gills and they look feathery. It's because that's trying to create more surface area to absorb more oxygen, and that's exactly what those sides are doing for the males. They're staying down there. They're going to be with those, and also the water and the mud that they are in is low oxygen content, so they need to make sure that they can absorb as much as possible.
So I would think there would be a reproductive, like, aspect to that. Like, if a female sees, like, oh, look at
Right.
his long, beautiful papillae, he will be able to breathe very well and take care of the babies very long.
Right. So there could
You
be,
know,
to our knowledge, we don't, because a lot of the information, we don't have a lot of in the field research on these guys because they are hard to find because they are in mud and muck and in some of the more harder to get to rainforest, lush swamps and rainforest areas of which fun fact, a jungle and a rainforest are not the same thing, by the way. Just another fun little tidbit.
yay, that's so
The
exciting. I
the
can
jungle is actually
hardly
the only yeah, the jungle is actually the like 3 to 15 feet of the exterior of a rainforest. Because in the rainforest it actually gets dark and then all the vegetation spreads out because it's so
Mhm.
dark and mucky. But anyway,
Oh,
that's one of my fun
yeah.
facts.
So you need a
So
lot of
the edge of a
mud.
rainforest is where you're cutting through vines like in the movies, and then you get into it and then like it's so pitch black dark that nothing's growing, and then you just basically have
Like, wow,
massive
this is
trees.
dank and swampy and gross.
Yes.
Hey.
And but yeah, it's just moist. It's so moist in these areas.
So these guys are
Uh
not considered endangered though. They're
no,
not.
they are
Um,
not. And
but that's not to say that humans are not wonderful in helping their
I
survival
will
either.
I will point out that all amphibians are on all amphibians basically are on a massive drop in species numbers over they're actually one of the fastest dropping because of the
They
way that
also
they
have the
absorb everything.
highest mutation rate too because they need water and stuff, and their
Yeah,
eggs don't have a hard shell or are not
yeah, they
being
just
grown
absorb everything.
inside the woman. That yeah, they're
So all
yeah,
the plastic, all those plastic tubes,
everything with sucks.
everything gets in there. Um,
So here's another fun fact I learned.
okay,
I did a little research on this. So humans are wonderful to these frogs. So
yeah.
they see these little hairy bastards and they go, "You know what that's gonna be good for, Wit? See that frog right there? That's gonna help you keep a boner longer."
Oh, I did not know that
They
some
do.
cultures use it for the boner. Yes. That
The
honestly is a death sentence to so many species. I'm surprised that they're
Right?
doing okay.
Why? I don't know why humans do this. We walk around and we go, "Huh, look at that. That's unusual. I
That'll
bet
give me a
that'll help
boner.
your
I'm
dick."
gonna kill it and eat it.
So they have parties that go parties, I guess loosely we'll call them parties, that go around, and we'll go into why later, but they have to hunt them with these huge
Spears.
spear-like
Yep.
javelins.
And that
And
goes
yeah,
to the
they kinda go, "Hey, it's your stag party." Maybe, I don't know, probably a stag party. "We're
stag
gonna
party.
go get you some hairy toads and see how many you can eat before you puke."
Ex-
'Cause dude, I do that. But yeah, so wonderful humans as always, out
yes.
there hunting and killing things because you need tiger bone and rhino
Rhino
horn
horn. There's so many things that
and hairy frog.
yep.
Hairy frog. That's
Hairy
probably
frog.
what people are not doing right
Yep.
nowadays. It's
The hairy frog.
the hairy frogs. Yeah. Yeah, so
But
we'll
maybe
try
with
and keep a
Viagra,
running
there's
toll.
less push for them, hopefully.
Hey, I wonder if the iron snail that we talked about, the volcano snail, I
Yeah.
wonder if someone's tried to make that into an aphrodisiac. Well,
I would not be surprised. I swear almost everything has. Uh I
look at the
one thing
balls on
were
that
you able to
monkey.
find out I was not able to find out why they're called the horror frog. I have
The
one
horror
theory.
frog, I have a couple theories, yeah,
Okay.
because 'cause
One
they're
of them gets
scary as
into our
fuck
final
looking.
fact, which we'll
Okay,
get into
yeah, a
here
lot of them
shortly.
get into the final fact, but also I would think kinda like if you think like a werewolf, they grow all these hair and
Okay.
stuff
Okay.
and things that maybe they belong in some sort of horror movie.
Okay.
Because actually, that was something I didn't know. Okay, so they have the long hairy papillae, which really do look
Right.
cool, only during mating season. So do they grow back into the frog, or do they like nip off and fall off?
They fall off. Like I mean, it's skin.
They like
It's
shed them.
just skin. Yeah. So they just shed them just like they would your skin. I mean, we shed our skin all the time. It's just during one part their skin changes shape, and then
And I
then it
bet
goes away.
your wife complains about your hair getting caught in the drain, and you'll just sit there and be like, honey,
Oh,
if you
I
think
have
this is
something to explain.
imagine if I were a hairy frog.
Yes.
Honey, get the plunger. No, let's just burn the house down. Fuck this.
Uh, so
So
I
yeah.
guess. Well, I
So
guess
that
we can.
that is all fun. That's no, there's more weird stuff I learned about them.
Oh, what did you learn?
I other than of course the awesome fact. So a lot of them I guess most frogs
Yeah.
absorb the moisture that they need, the water through their skin as well.
Right. No need to drink.
Which I kind of figured, I have some experience with some tortoises and some turtles, and there are some tortoises that can just like plop their ass in water and take in moisture
Right.
while they're staring you in the eye. They just kind of look at you and go, "Hey, how's it going? I'm drinking with my asshole right now."
Right. Well, they can, and some turtles can breathe with their ass. They basically turn their asshole into a gill for the aquatic ones. A lot of them can't
Yeah.
still have to come up for air. Like that's a way for them to keep. Like they
Down
can
longer.
absorb stuff. It's not as efficient as like a gill, so it can't sustain them forever, but it lets them stay longer without having to come
Mhm.
up for a big gasp
Kind of
of
makes
air.
me think like, how like cold water can hold more oxygen than
Yeah.
warm water. We'll probably do an episode on the ice fish.
Okay. Yep.
They live under Antarctica. They don't actually really have blood because the water there is so oxygenated. They just really need a system to push it through their body, and their body will get
Yep.
all the oxygen it needs.
Yes.
So I kind of wonder, like these guys, if you put them in the cold, they'd probably do a lot
Um,
better. They'd be like, "Hey, thanks. I haven't had this much energy in
well,
forever."
yes and no, because remember they've also evolved in basically
Oh
near
yes,
equatorial temperatures, so they're just used
yeah.
to their main thing is the shallow water, muddy pits, just not having since it's not like a rivers and streams are constantly flowing, so that's always new oxygen in the
Yeah,
water.
this is kind of
The
more
stagnant
bleh.
mud puddle
All right.
doesn't have a
So,
lot.
so okay, the hair is cool, the eyeballs are cool, the males
Yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
bigger than the chicks,
And
but
why they
this
made
is
those spears is these guys have claws, but their
are they
claws
all
are
the time, Whitney? Are the
no, they are
claws
not.
always there?
These are called the Wolverine frogs, also, and that's obviously a much more newer name because they're named after Wolverine from the X-Men. And the reason
But
for
these
that,
claws are not claws.
they're
They're
not
not
claws in the
claws.
normal sense. Like most claws are made out of keratin, which is what our nails and hair are made out of. These guys are actual bones, and the thing is, they are retractable, so they go in and out, but they actually are bones from inside the flesh that break. So they actually break their own bones and then stab them out through their legs and their fingers and toes, and then they just start kicking because their legs are super powerful. So they scratch the hell out of whatever's
Imagine that.
after them.
Imagine people with toddlers. Imagine your toddler doesn't want to get in the children's seat and you're trying to hold them down and strap them in. All of a sudden, their toes contort, break,
And bones
and
show
claws come out of the
claw
pads
bones.
of their feet, like the pads
Yep.
of their toes, like the tips. I guess the last of the phalanges on their toes
Yes, like
or
right.
tarsals. Yeah, break. Well, it's a tendon holding them in that kind of breaks and pushes them out.
Yes.
So I mean, for the first time, it's got to be a little gory too. It's
Yeah.
like, ha!
Well, the thing is, they can do it multiple times. And here's the thing: like, we don't know exactly how it works. Uh, one of my big things is all about like reverse engineering of biological systems. What that means is we take natural things and then we figure out how we can use them or make them. We do this all the time. I mean, that's how we find out like meds and stuff from nature. We're like, oh, that's a chemical. How the heck does nature make that? Oh, now we can make that, but we don't know how to make it or that it can exist until then. The thing is, we do know that they retract them, and we don't know, but they theorize that they actually regrow because there's a bone chunk on the end that holds the rest of the bone together, and then it breaks and that claw shoots out. So there's still like a bone piece at the end of their finger, and then this would be like this last bone snapped into like half, and then like half of it pops out to be a claw. But they do know there is some mechanism to bring it back, and also it probably fuses back together. But we don't know how that works, because the only thing we've studied for this mechanism are dead frogs that the researchers.
So to kind of complete the Wolverine trifecta, though, so a lot of hair, bone claws that come out,
Claws,
and then the third is frogs have very high healing factors, actually.
Well, especially these guys. So we do, but the thing,
yeah.
This is all
so the tendon that's holding the bone back can regrow and reattach.
Yeah.
And they think it can break out multiple times.
Muscles that they haven't quite identified that pull it back, reset it in place, and then refuse it to the rest, and then the skin would obviously close up.
Yeah, it would have to go back.
Which that's where the reverse engineering comes in, because if we can figure out how they heal bone so fast,
right,
that we could potentially replicate that in a healing system. Which is why we need to keep all these different things around, because we haven't even figured out half the.
We don't know half of what they do. Yeah,
I mean, there's actually a similar concept that they're studying right now with cats, because one theory, I don't know how well accepted it is. One theory is the way that they purr when they're injured is different than when they purr elsewise, and they think that vibration level actually stimulates bone growth in cats.
Oh,
which is but they
interesting.
I don't know where that
We're gonna do a whole episode on cats, so cat lovers, stay tuned.
Yeah,
you're gonna learn some fun things about them. But no, that's cool. No, I know there was a research group that was trying to figure out how the toads brought the claws back in, and they're like, well, maybe they have to relax. So they were like trying to soothe these little frogs. I guess not, no, but their hands, like, I don't know, like, what soothes a frog? Music? I don't know, a little yoga.
Honestly, it's just putting them in it. The problem is what causes them to be calm makes them hard to watch and actually observe, because it's being hidden in a nice little dark spot.
Right? It's like, how can we help this frog relax? How about the giant, scary alien looking thing? Stop looking at it. I mean, that's us, by the way, guys.
Think about
giant eyeballs, kind of creepy.
Yeah. Like, think about how we want to relax. We just want to go home. We just want to go to our rooms.
Exactly. If there was like all of a sudden the roof came off and there was this giant face and an eyeball just like staring at us, be like, I cannot go to sleep with that shit.
Yeah.
That is some creepy shit.
So, yes, I'm not sure. I haven't heard any updates on the research, because they are very elusive little frogs. And the way to research them is very hard. So we don't know exactly how their healing process works. But literally, just like in the old school comics of Wolverine, it's like it comes out and then it goes in, and he has to like recut himself every time he does
every time there's like blood spurting out. Like,
and they do know that they well, I shouldn't say they do know. They theorize that it can be reused. They just haven't witnessed how it is.
Well, and the researcher, like, if you look up some of them, they've got scars from these guys.
Yeah,
because they're like, I tried to piss it off, and you succeeded, and it was like, these guys have like 6-inch long scars of just like where they've been raked and torn open by these frogs.
Right. Hence the spears that we mentioned earlier with the hunting process, because the natives were like, "Why the fuck are you holding that thing?"
Right? Like, can't you go frog catching with a net? Oh, not these bastards.
No. Yeah.
You know. So this all, I was fascinated by this when Whitney mentioned it. And I ran across, I'm sure Whitney's heard of this one, but I ran across another creature like this.
Yes.
It is the yes! The Russian ribbed newt.
Yes, they're the only other ones that we know of that uses own internal bones as an external defense
Weapon.
mechanism.
But this guy uses his own ribs.
Yeah,
Like,
he
you go to
shoots
pick
them.
it up, and
Yep.
they've got little, like, nodules on them that are like tubes for the ribs to shoot out. So,
Yes.
unlike the frog that's, like, slicing its own skin, these guys just have them built in. They're
And then
just
the
like,
ribs just go.
"Ready? Ready? Fuck with it." Yeah, they just puff up and they shoot their ribs out,
So you're
but they
holding this little
also
guy, and then suddenly, ah!
right? What? Yeah, like holding on to like a pincushion all of a sudden, like
And
motherfucker. But these guys also they have poison sacs. So
yep.
the ribs go through poison sacs, then out. Like, God
So
damn.
they're coating their own ribs with their poison, and then you are now injected. Which technically, well, would that make it a venom? That would make it a venom, I believe,
Oh, you're right. It would be a venom.
because once it's
Poison is
injected,
when you eat it and you die. Venom is when it bites you and you die.
yes,
It's all the mechanism.
it's
But yeah, so I guess it would be a venom because it is
yeah,
hitting
'cause
you,
it has to be injected. Yeah.
biting, so to
It
speak.
might be well, technically, it could be both a poison and a venom. Like eat it, die.
Yeah. And
Venom,
these guys
die.
are like, apparently, like, the whole Spanish Peninsula, all that,
Yep.
and Morocco and stuff. So, I always like to think, why did these creatures develop these, like, phenomenal defense mechanisms? Who is eating these little guys?
Right.
Like, dogs? Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
who? What? A weasel?
well, I mean, most things aren't eating them. That's why they evolved it. And they're secreting. And I think that's what the frogs. I mean, the frogs primarily their main time when they're in danger is when they are guarding the eggs because they're not
Yes.
moving around. They're not in up
So,
hot
who would be
away
guard
from.
or who would they be guarding it from, like, fish? Do they
Well, the
attack
thing is,
each
remember,
other?
they're in puddles. They're basically
Yeah.
in mud puddles. So what they're guarding it from are small terrestrial animals like
Mm.
monkeys and uh, canids and felids, cats, dog-like things that, or raccoon or type things that are coming down and
That are
grabbing
like,
it out of the
"I'm
water.
gonna I'm gonna go out to the store for some food." "Oh, what do you want, sweet?" "I
Y-
think I'm gonna get the soup today." "The soup?
Yes,
Oh,
and
okay."
so
"There's some frog soup over there."
I need to go through some more of their life cycle, but I also saw some things where the tadpoles of these guys are often
Mhm.
also found at like the base of waterfalls,
Yes, I read something about that where they can handle really harsh, like
rugged areas, which
yeah,
and it kind of makes sense with the rainy season, like if they're developing as eggs in this little thing, and then when the floods come, they go with the
that's
torrent. So that's
yeah, because 'cause they're gonna have some really tumultuous, ecosystems to deal with. Yeah,
yeah.
because a lot of
So
that
I
will
honestly I think they're just I feel like the claw thing is better for terrestrial animals because but fish and whatnot, I just feel are more armored against something like that because of the scales and
well, the
whatnot. But
keratin is in their scales, so
yeah,
they've got that armor there.
well, and scales are actually what is it? Scales are actually the fish scales are different than reptile scales. 'Cause reptile scales are keratin. Fish scales are actually dentine and keratin. So there's actually like bone and their fish scales are actually more like our teeth in their structure than they
Okay,
are.
yeah.
Uh, so that's different. So they just have that
There are some
boniness
creatures that do
to it.
have keratin teeth, though.
What was it?
There are some
Yes,
creatures
yes.
that yeah, yeah. We'll probably go into the
Yes.
hagfish
Into
at some
all
point
those types of things.
as
Yes.
seeing them prey. But yeah, so these guys are, like, just freaking amazing. Yeah. Oh, okay, so here is a question. So, you're probably gonna be hearing this podcast, a few weeks out from when we're recording it. We're just kinda making sure
Starting
we
it
get
up.
some
Yeah.
yeah, get some info. So, it's around Christmas time here. And so I'm gonna play Ask the Expert. So around my Christmas table today
Okay.
or last couple weeks, I've been asked, I don't know, it's this fact, I guess I could look it up on Snoops, but people who are allergic to shellfish are apparently often allergic to coffee because the same material that makes up the shellfish's shell
Uh
is the
huh.
same stuff that makes up cockroach shells. And because of the high amount of cockroach in our coffee grounds, Some people who are highly allergic are allergic to coffee. And I was kind of like, wow,
I wouldn't say it's a high number, but there is a percentage of, but that's every product ever. There's literally like a percentage that is allowed because you cannot completely remove. Honestly, insects are everywhere. You can't remove them all. Every product has a percentage that it's allowed, and it's actually a very minuscule amount. Your peanut butter has anything that's ground in a machine. Honestly, coffee would be.
I would think because it's dry, it wouldn't be as much. Yeah.
It wouldn't be as much. I think that's a myth. All right. Let's
Well,
take
they
a
were
bet.
talking about up to 20%.
Look it up now. I'm going to look it up now.
Okay, so the people around my table were saying,
what's the over under? What's the over under? Everybody put your bets in. Everybody?
No, I was saying the people that I was talking to were saying 20% of coffee is cockroaches, which seems like a pretty high amount.
That is.
I was like,
whoever told you that is definitely using the internet memes as their
I have been correct on some of those memes, damn it.
Some maybe.
All right, Whitney, do you have the Snoops on it?
All right, coming up.
Is it the same kind
mixture, a mixture of false, which usually means that somebody's exaggerated something. Regulations Snopes says it is a mixture of being true. Regulations established by the FDA established a maximum level of natural unavoidable defects. Like I just said,
cockroach,
which could be cockroach or any other insect.
Let's just hope it's not the lead paint. Oh, it says organic.
It is take cream with their coffee, other sugar, both others.
Yeah, but how much?
I mean, technically it's in the sugar, it's in everything. The thing is, if you're allergic to, it's on dung beetles. Okay, this apparently started with an NPR article.
I like NPR for the most part.
They just basically made an anecdote about.
So it's probably pretty rare. Because I know people who are allergic to shellfish who do drink coffee, and I was just like,
basically they were talking about
brands are better, like can't have Folgers or can have Folgers. Don't know what you drink.
Yeah, it was just an anecdotal story about a professor that they had while they were in undergrad that was paranoid about that.
Okay.
And then everybody turned it into fact. So there's
fact
no more
just what we all believe. Isn't that what a fact is? There's
no more cockroaches in your coffee than there are
in your bread. Oh, that's
in your bread. Literally every other food that you eat. Yes, it's a certain allotted amount. And if they go above that amount and get caught, that's always
get caught.
Get caught. That's when we run into those issues. But that's
okay. I kind of figured as much.
Yeah.
All right. So that's about the end of this one for us. But we'd love to hear your questions about the hairy frog. And if we got anything wrong and there is one of the hairy frog researchers, I will check you for your scars to make sure you're telling the truth. If we got something wrong, let us know.
Yeah.
But pretty awesome. I kind of want to see one dressed up in a yellow suit now, like Wolverine, with like, okay, you'd have to have side panels for the hair to come out. Like breaking its toes and being like, yo, bitch, let's go. So Wolverine fights Sabretooth. What would a hairy frog fight?
Hairy frog? Let's see. Sabretooth. A
tribesmen who need boners.
Or frog or whatever it is. That real big one.
Which one?
Sabretooth's way bigger than... What?
I was like Pac-Man frog. Like
Yeah. In those kind of areas. Yeah. Well, one thing, if you are curious about helping frogs and things like that, one thing that I always suggest people is to join a thing called Frog Watch, and most likely you're probably from the U.S. So there's Frog Watch USA, which is a group that helps try to track frogs. You'll learn how to identify their calls. You'll learn how to help be a citizen scientist and with conservation efforts on amphibians, since they are one of the biggest being hit right now by what we call the Anthropocene, which is human-caused extinction right now.
We should definitely get in here a recording of a hairy frog noise.
Yes, I will see
Because
about that.
all their calls are different. I mean, I think most people think of bullfrog. You know what a bullfrog sounds like.
Yeah,
Blah.
the most there's usually a cacophony, and that was what. Yeah, I
We're
had
in
a
the
hard enough
Midwest,
time in
so
my ornithology
lots.
class trying to identify frog calls was like, "Durr." That's
And
rough.
really all it is I'm sexy, come over here. Bah.
Yep,
Ye me. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, like I love the tweeting of the birds in the spring. It's, "Oh, it's so pretty." No, they're really just saying, "Fuck me, fuck me, fuck me."
Well, it's that, and then it's this is my place. Back away.
Now, first it's "fuck me," then it's "fuck you."
Yes, fuck me, then fuck you.
You
Yes,
and "fuck off."
and then fuck off. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's after the children are born and big enough to fly. Now it's "fuck
Yeah,
off."
fuck off. Get away from here, kid.
I have dealt with you long enough.
Yeah. And then while the
Um,
eggs are actually while the birds are in the eggs, they'll even do a little call. They'll be doing the "fuck me" song so that the babies actually. It turns out they actually learn while they're in the egg, the call of whatever parent is singing. So
Really?
the parents
Mm.
will sing the mating call of their species to the eggs.
Well, that's
And
good though. Kinda like, "Hey, here's how you get laid." It's
yes,
like the
exactly.
if you
That's an important lesson. There are many of us in the
there
world that did
there
not
are
learn
many
that on their own.
there's I would say that, animal podcasts are far outnumbered by people giving advice on dating. So, yeah,
Ooh.
that's oh, come on, you know it's true.
Oh no, I know it's true. That's why I just started having that song. I forget the artist. We'll have to pop it in. To stop giving men microphones is the name of the song. Wait, not mine. Leave my microphone though.
No, you're down. So, anyway, so this is after vaguely, very rarely after the holidays for us.
Yep.
So, it'll be after the holidays for you. So whatever holidays, happy, merry,
Yes.
celebrative,
Yesterday
festive,
was Christmas
whatever.
for us. The next is New Year's, but your guys will be in like February or March by the time you see.
So happy fucking day,
Happy fucking day. That's it.
Valentine's.
That's a holiday. It should be a holiday. Wait,
It's
isn't
kind of
that
a
Valentine's Day? Yeah, that is
it is.
Valentine's Day.
It's happy fucking day. It's
Happy
to
fucking
warm
day.
you up for the springtime.
It's also known as awkward breakup day.
Awkward breakup day. There's a story there.
Oh, there's plenty of people that have stories there.
I've read the thing where it's like how much before Valentine's Day should you break up with someone so the
Yep.
present situation isn't awkward? I was like, "What?"
Yeah, oh yeah. I think it's the dumbest holiday. But anyway, we digress.
Okay.
We're just trying to close up and we're failing miserably because we're from the Midwest and we don't know how to say goodbye.
Should we do something Midwestern to
Well,
close it out? Be like,
it's about time.
there's a long line at what's the coffee shop we're always going to? Here it's IHOP.
Uh-huh.
You get there right before the long line, you go, "Look like we just got here just in time."
Yep. Time to mosey on out now.
Everybody's gotta say that. So anyway, mwah, kisses, love you all, thank you, and, next time, I've got 2 really cool animals I'm
Oh,
thinking
okay.
about. I was thinking about should we bring it home to a domesticated animal that, will make you no longer walk around your house so pleasantly and calmly?
Maybe.
Or should we do something a little bit farther from home that'll, kinda gore and rip your skin off?
Also maybe.
Either way, it's gonna be something that is deadly to humans. I guarantee that. It's gonna be on the
We get
now
her
that I
own.
think about it, it's gonna be in the top, 50 deadly animals to humans. Both the ones I'm thinking are in there.
Well, let's see. I got the hippo.
Okay, I didn't say it was number 1 or
Okay.
2 because I'm not counting insects, guys. I'm not doing, top 50 animals, not
Yes.
larvae
Wait.
and stuff.
Oh God, did you? We'll talk about that.
All
another
right,
time.
so hugs and
Okay.
kisses to you all, and thank you once again for listening to What in the Fauna?
What the fauna? Bye all.